We are firmly into the final week for Penn State football training camp. I'm Thomas Frank Carr. You can call me T. Frank here on the Blue White Illustrated YouTube channel. And it's a great time to recap the things that we've learned about the team through the first 3.5 weeks or so of camp. And it's weird, right? Because they started on a Wednesday, so technically they started their final week on Wednesday. I'm releasing this on a Saturday. You might be watching it a Saturday or Sunday, maybe even a Monday. But yeah, by the time we get to next Wednesday, camp is over. The 4 weeks of camp are over, and they'll transition to season preparation mode, preparation for Marshall. So we've got a lot to do, and it may seem like we have time, but we don't have a ton of time to recap and really nutshell all the things that we've learned about the Nittany Lions through one of the most unprecedented access that we've had to the program in a very, 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 very long time, maybe ever. At least in the modern era of college football. We got to see 4 open practices. We've gotten a lot of feedback as well from our sources and from people around the program about some of the other things going on in between when we're at practice, but we've been there a good bit. So I feel like we got a good bead on what we know and what we don't know about the team. Some of the stuff is intentionally obscure, right? They want to welcome us with open arms, but also only show us the things that we want. They want us to know. So in that context, here are the things that we've learned. 3 of the things we've learned about the offense so far through.
Number 3.
Okay, so the thing that I am most surprised about on this list is the running back room. Now, the running back room, to me, if we want to rewind all the way back to February, I was a little skeptical about this room because Carson Hansen, I think he's a known commodity. Penn State fans are undervaluing him because he does not come with a lot of flash and sizzle in the way we've described him as ultra dependable, right? So you're not giving effusive praise when talking about Penn State's lead back. And so everyone's been trying to replace him. The guys they were trying to replace him with were Quinton Martin, an undersized slashback that was more hype than production through the first 2 years of his career, who did not put on the weight he needed, and then James Peoples, who was a cast-off from Ohio State and was beat out by a freshman for backup snaps behind the starting running back for the Buckeyes that year. And I'm starting with a bunch of things that are going to get people all riled up, and I understand that's where we were. Those are the facts that we had in February. Fast forward to now, and this might be a strength of the team, because those 2 guys made good on their potential, because there was a long road to go for Quinton Martin, who for 2 years we had said, is he going to actually be able to commit himself in the weight room? Is he capable of gaining weight? Some guys in that journey this year haven't done that. He has. Here's what head coach Matt Campbell had to say about Quinton Martin and James Peoples when asked about them, specifically about Martin's weight gain, and then Peoples, just his performance and his assessment of James Peoples in the offense so far. This is from, I believe, the 2nd week of training camp. It all bleeds together. It's been both very fast and a super long August. So whatever the date and time of this, it was 2 press conferences ago. I know that for certain.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I think both those guys have had really, really special days the last couple of days. And, Quinton is 215, which I think is, probably between 215 and 220. We'd love him to live there. And I think for him to put that weight on and sustain it in fall camp has proven that that's real weight, and that I think he's got the ability to continue to progress himself forward, which is a win for us. And James Peoples, if you said who was the star of yesterday's practice, I think there's no question James had a really special day. And so, again, I think with those running backs, it's a different scheme. It's a different scheme for James. It's certainly a different scheme for Q. And I think what you feel like is every day those guys are more and more comfortable in what we're asking them to do. But they're physical. Those guys did a really great job running the football, and they can both catch the ball in the backfield, which I think are huge wins for us.
That's a really important development for this offense, because Carson Hansen, I think, is a successful running back. He both produced at Iowa State, had good grading, had good metrics, but he does a lot of things you really, really, really like. But for this offense to be dynamic, an offense that wants to run the football, they do need to have some pop from each position. You feel like they've got that at tight end. Athletic tight ends, that's not a problem. Receiver, wild card in terms of talent, but where are they going to land on that? And running back, it felt like was kind of a make or break position for me, because you don't get it from there. Now you're really relying on those other areas to provide explosive elements, especially in the passing game only. And we are far from everything being decided. But what they have done so far is everything they can do, besides proving it on the field. Quinton Martin, you heard he's about 215. I think just from the tone of that, they'd love to get another 5 pounds on him. They really want him to, at that size, they want him to be 220. I am now confident he'll get there at some point, maybe not this year, but during his career. I think he's done the work in order to get to that plateau. So whether it's 217, whatever it is, I can see Quinton Martin being a complete running back at this point. Like, if we've seen evidence of him in the blue-white practice of running hard between the tackles and kind of dragging some people with him. Taylor Mauser is going to talk about it here in just a little bit about some of the goal line work he's done during camp. But he's rounded into a really proficient running back all around, and that was the thing with Martin, is everyone wanted to make him a receiver, and they wanted to get him on the field, right? But it's the reverse order of a guy like Martin and how he's actually going to help the team. He needs to be a good running back first to provide that positional threat, and then make him a receiver, because he was never going to be a good receiver just because of his size and he doesn't play the position. And if you move him to receiver specifically, you blow up his development at running back. And so, like, it's an order of operations. And now in his third year, it seems like everything is coming together for him. And then for Peoples, the transformation he's made this offseason from kind of a guy that was jack of all trades and a master of none, which is actually a compliment for most, should be a compliment. When you don't have a standout trait, sometimes people like me can overlook you in terms of what you provide to an offense or to whatever. James Peoples has really come a long way in terms of his physique and building a profile of how to use him. Durable looking runner, and he's been good during camp. So these two players in a situation from maybe a weakness on the team to potentially a strength on the team, talking to people in the offseason, they were sky high on the running back position. They thought they could get there. And, I believe these people when they tell me things. It's just that you also have the skepticism of knowing where Quinton Martin has been on this journey for 3 years. And to see all of it come together, I'm super impressed by these guys. And I think that it is a huge opportunity for the Penn State offense. So number 3 is the running back room can be a strength of the offense in a team that wants to run the football. So that's a huge thing. If you want to read more about it and you want to read more about maybe our top 5 players on offense, because this comes up a couple of different times in what we've learned from training camp, subscribe to BlueWhiteIllustrated.com. It is 75% off. Let me put the little widget up here for you. If you're watching on your TV, I know about half of you are watching on your phone. So, like, you get, what are you going to do? Screenshot the QR code? But if you're watching on something where you got your phone in your hand, that's the QR code. But really, the link is in the description of the video in all of our videos. So it's not hard to find, and I'll put this up here for the graphic for people watching. 75% off. It's $30 to get to Blue White Illustrated for the entire year. Matt Campbell's first season. Tons of things are changing. We're going over some of them on the show today, but we can't get to everything. There's a lot of detail and a lot of information, and I don't want to overwhelm you in this particular video. I want to give you the things you need to know. But just know, there's way more. We're here 3 hours a week. We provide you the press conferences. We provide you these videos of kind of recapping some of this stuff, but there's not enough time on the internet, and you absorb information faster when you read it. As much as I love talking to people, it's faster and more efficient to read. So make sure you go check out the site because it's $30 for a year, and it's the first year. It's a super important time. Also, like the video and subscribe here to the Blue White Illustrated YouTube channel so you don't miss any of this. And you can even if you don't decide to subscribe to us, and I know that some of you just never will, you want to be here, but you don't want to take the plunge. Like, it's $30. Come on. But if you don't, I want to make sure you're getting some good information from Penn State football, which we are going to do here all season long. Okay, number 2.
Number 2.
We're going to kind of stay with the running back room, but pivot to the offense in general. Taylor Mauser has evolved his offense from last year. This is something he said, and check out the video here on the YouTube channel. We had an exclusive interview with him. I asked about making sure you stay true to your principles, but evolving the offense every year, because if you just do what you did previously, everyone knows what you're about to do, and then they've planned for it. So you need to constantly be adapting no matter what. Even if you have the same players, you need to evolve somehow. But when you have new players, then you really need to decide what is the best plan for this group of players. And from what we've seen during camp, They are absolutely evolving the offense, and that's going to go down to position versatility and position multiplicity. We're staying with the running backs because Quinton Martin is a great example of this, of a guy who it seems is going to make good on that true dual threat ability we talked about in the first segment under the running backs getting better. He's a better running back now, so he has a real reason to be on the field, and you can use him in a bunch of different ways because he has that receiving background. This is what, for Penn State fans, you weren't wrong. He can be used as a receiver, but not as a receiver. He can be used as a running back receiver, and that's a fundamentally different thing. But also, the threat is at any point he can go for a jet sweep into the backfield and run the football, or he can run downfield. You can send him in a bunch of different ways, and that will be determined by who's covering him. And that's a big part of this. So let's get to what Taylor Mauser had to say about Quinton Martin, and then we're going to extrapolate that about a bunch of different players on the offense.
His athleticism and his size and what he can do and his ability. He did some great stuff on the goal line for us of being able to get downhill. He's one of the better pass pro guys that we have. We can split him out and we can have him on routes for us. When we get to those 10 personnel sets, we really have two backs in too because he can play wide out for us. So he allows us to get funky with what we want to do. We can be in 21 personnel and 22 personnel and then be in 10 personnel, and he can be a receiver. So I think just his ability to pick up the playbook.
So that versatility is not contained to just Quinton Martin. That's an example of a player on the offense. But the tight ends, let's talk about the tight ends. Ben Bramer, this is already well known, is going to line up at receiver, right? He's going to line up at basically as an X during certain formations and situations. It's very clear that Mauser wants to get heavy personnel onto the field, 13 personnel, sometimes 14 personnel. What that does is forces the defense to put on their big bodies, an extra defensive lineman or an extra linebacker, and then they're betting they've got more athletic players to attack that extra player that's on the field. The 11th defender is what I call that guy. If that 11th defender is a run player, then he's probably not good in coverage or just generally on the balance of things. He's better against the run. So now you got your tight ends attacking weaknesses in coverage, and you've sucked all the attention down into the line of scrimmage, and these receivers can be aggressive down the field, which is why they want big-bodied, explosive guys. Kind of a recap of the offseason. But on top of that now, it's not just the tight ends. And yes, like tight ends, Andrew Rappelier can line up at fullback, like true old-school fullback. They can line him up in the slot. They can line him up out wide. They can do the same thing with Bramer and with Burkle when he comes back. And now you've got these running backs can do that as well. And the receivers on this team, especially Kobe Howard, Zay Robinson, and Kobe Howard's been the guy we've seen the most do this, they can also line up in the backfield. So everyone can kind of line up everywhere. And that diversity creates matchup problems. When you break the huddle, you don't know what the formation is going to be. So here's how this works. The defense looks at the formation or looks at the personnel in the huddle, and they want to match the personnel. And from there, there's a certain number of ways you can line up with that personnel that's pretty traditional, right? Tight ends, they're going to be close to the line of scrimmage. Running backs, they're going to be in the backfield. Receivers, they're going to be in the slot or out wide. And suddenly you don't know what's going to happen when Penn State breaks the huddle. They could have two running backs and two tight ends and go empty, meaning nobody in the backfield. Suddenly you're in a passing formation with all run personnel. And did you get the right personnel on the field, and can they attack with that particular personnel? Same thing with the receivers. You got a 3-receiver set, and suddenly one of them's in the backfield. These are the opportunities that they have within the offense to create mismatches, and then from there, explosive plays because of those mismatches. So the run game, it's super important. They want to control the time of possession. They want to be able to run when people know they want to run. Taylor Mauser's not going to sit on his hands. They're going to attack. And that's one of the ways that I think they're going to attack is with this position versatility and this multiplicity. Because again, when Matt Campbell says big words like just one-word answers of multiplicity, on defense it has one answer, and on offense it has another answer, and that's not clear what it means because it can mean anything. And that's kind of the point is they want to be vague, so they're not telling people what they're going to do. But I think there's a certain amount of we do know what they're going to do because there's only like these are the things you do. And here's the thing is like it doesn't give anything away because you still at the snap don't know what they're going to do. It comes down to that play in that moment. There's so many different options that even if you know that it's an idea in their game plan, you don't know what it looks like and you don't know what to exactly prepare for. And that's the point. So there's a lot of, I think, good ideas and good basic fundamental football concepts that are being rolled into this offense. And we'll see if they come out as a cohesive game plan that then creates huge winning opportunities for Penn State. Okay, so final one here, and just a reminder, we got a great deal for you from Roback. I'm not wearing the Penn State stuff. They got their collegiate line of game day collection over at Roback. We've got the promo code for you here. Let me get it to you. Link is in the description of the video, but code BWI20 for 20% off Roback's game day collection. So if you want to go and get ready for the tailgate show and the tailgate coming up for Marshall, the stripe out game, first game in Matt Campbell's era as the head coach of Penn State, Roback, man, they fit really good. Let me just a quick thing. This is coming from the heart. This is not like I'm not looking anywhere reading this. I don't like hoodies because I don't like feeling sloppy. You know, you get like a hoodie, and even if it's a nice one, after a while it starts to like break down and it becomes like a sack. I like to feel trim. I'm already a bulky guy for my size. I don't necessarily need to look more like a potato. So these hoodies, they are lean but comfortable and soft, and they make you look good. Like if you're a skinny dude, you're going to look good. If you're a dude like me, if you're a bigger dude, they're going to make your shoulders look wider in a hoodie. Like, it's awesome. I really like them. So make sure you check them out. Use the promo code. And they just the fabric, everything, super great. Okay, let's get to
number 1.
So I don't have as many highlights of this particular position because a lot of what they've done when it comes to actually some interesting video has been during the, hey, please don't film this sections of practice. But Penn State has a legitimate backup quarterback now. There was a huge question, not just our question, but an internal question of what is Alex Manske? What is this quarterback that we think is great, was one of the highest rated recruits that Iowa State got to join the program at one of the most critical positions. They've known this guy for a really long time, and Matt Campbell has gone through his injury history, which is pretty long, you know, for a guy with such a short career or somebody who's just in his second year. And so, like, I talked to Jake Waters during media day, Penn State's quarterback coach, and I asked him, like, you know, were you surprised that Alex Manske came out so hot during practice and was having such a strong start to the year? And he said, honestly, like, I knew he could do it, but I'd never seen him do it. And so suddenly Alex Manske is going throw for throw with Rocco Beck to start camp. And it's not even the physical aspects of this, let alone like the story of coming back from a heart condition where he had open heart surgery this offseason, which is just a wild thing to say about anybody you know. Anybody you know having open heart surgery, you're not talking about, oh man, when are they going back to work? You're going, oh man, are they okay? And within the same offseason, Alex Manske is back on the football field and playing for Penn State football and playing really well. Mentally super sharp. And so, you know, I talked to him a little bit after practice earlier this week. He, I think, got a little prickly about the idea that he had missed time and was behind. He didn't think he was behind whatsoever, and he wanted to push back on that concept. I think there's a certain defensiveness about that of, you know, if you're behind, then you can be replaced. And Alex Manske wants to make it very clear, you're not replacing him on the roster. And, you know, message received. The way he's played during camp, there have been a couple of instances where he hasn't been as good as Becht, but that's understandable. He's in his second year. Becht is in his fifth year, and you know, Campbell called him playing an elite clip, Rocco Beck, earlier this week. Alex Manske, like, is the quarterback of the future at this point based on the way he's played. There is more to learn. You got to do it in the game as a quarterback. So it's not like, okay, Penn State's future is secure, he's going to be a superstar. But is he a viable prospect? Is he a viable candidate to replace Becht? Absolutely, without a doubt, yes. He has done that. He has proven that during camp. There should be a competition after this season to find out who the next quarterback of the Nittany Lions is going to be. But right at the top of that list of guys that you should expect to be in the competition is Alex Manske. I can't underline this enough. I cannot talk about this enough. The mental ability, the quick decisions, the decisiveness, the ability to see routes and find them on the football field, it's just brief windows. But you don't go through a practice and see that from guys at all. And then you see it from Alex Manske like in his second day. And then during some competitive periods we saw, I thought making some good decisions, knowing when to check down, knowing when to run, and then having the confidence to throw the ball down the field. So the decisiveness from top to bottom in the quarterback room, from Beck all the way down to Connor Berry, the guys that we've seen go out there and compete against the defense, has been really impressive. And a huge aspect of that is the development of the backup quarterback, who, as always, is everyone's favorite player when things don't go right. I don't think we're getting to that this year. I don't think there's any chance we're getting to that. But Alex Manske, going from what is this guy and does Penn State need to find a transfer quarterback after the season to they should feel confident about what they have at the quarterback position, is probably the biggest development you could have on this team for the future of the program. And so Penn State seems to be in a good spot with that. That'll do it for our 3 things we've learned during training camp. Once again, I'm Thomas Frank Carr. Like the video, subscribe here to the Blue White Illustrated YouTube channel, go to our site, subscribe for $30 because camp is ending and the camp sale, you would assume, is going to end as well. So that'll be it for now. We'll be back next week with more from Penn State football. We're going to have a change of schedule. Things are changing because the schedule is changing. We will let you know, but most likely during the season, we're going to have a Monday recap show. And so we're going to get into the habit of the regular season pretty soon. So just stay tuned and look out for that. I'm Thomas Frank Carr. We'll talk to you later.